Hey everybody, welcome back. I am once again back in the secret tunnel. It's still a little warm and I just didn't want to go sit where it was a little warm. But anyway, I had to share this. It is a breakthrough, revolutionary moment and I am so super excited. Remember that post that I did a couple days ago about the new technique for doing Tunisian in the round with 4 double-ended Tunisian crochet hooks? Yes, I figured it out. I'm so excited. I can't wait to show it to you guys. So I went and dug through my crochet hooks. I actually had a second H hook. I think I actually had 3 H hooks, but I could only find 2. I had one in my bag. No, I had actually one in a project for the H hook. And then I also grabbed a brand spanking new H hook that I have never opened before. That might be the other one I have, but I'm thinking I have another one somewhere. But if not, that's fine. So anyway, I grabbed the 2 H hooks. I grabbed an I hook. And I also grabbed a G hook. That doesn't look right. That one's the I. So an I hook, 2 H hooks, and a G hook. Now this is the best that I could come up with because the most I have of any of these is the 2 for the H. But you know, honestly, I don't think it made that much of a difference. And I did not go with the entire swatch like the instructions mentioned. I just did a smaller version of it, but it's not going to matter because it's not an actual project. It is a sampler, an experimental, a trial project. I grabbed some baby yarn because the book recommended a worsted weight or size 4 yarn and a K crochet or double-ended crochet hook. The biggest I have is this I hook. So I decided to use the baby yarn instead of the worsted weight yarn just because I figured it would be a nice comparison in size yarn wise for the size of the hook, the biggest size of hook that I had. But honestly, like I said, I don't think it really mattered that I'm using 3 different size hooks. You guys, I am so excited about this. And no, I am not going to show you how I do this because I need a little more practice. But this is definitely a game changer for making hats in the round because you're only using 1 strand of yarn. Now, if you're familiar, I do actually have this right here. I stole one of the H hooks from here. But I actually had a hat started in the round. I don't know what its problem is. It's going to get frogged. It's way too wonky for a hat. But I had this actually started. And as you can see, there's 2 different colors of yarn because that's how I originally learned and figured out how to do Tunisian in the round, is using 2 colors because that is the common way that is normally showed in YouTube videos and like on anything else that I have found online. But like I said, this method only uses 1 strand of yarn. Are you ready for this? Here we go. Now, it's like I said, it's a little wonky, and it took me a couple of rows to get it figured out. But once I did, it looks awesome. So you start with your center square here, and then the rest of it. And this is Tunisian knit stitch. This is not. Come on. There we go. This is Tunisian knit stitch. It is not the Tunisian simple stitch like what I do most all of my hats with. But I started with this middle panel right here. And actually, this is the top. The bottom of it is right here. It's where my tail is at, right here on this end. So I started, and then I went in the round. Now each side uses a separate hook. And every time you change hooks, the hook goes on a different side, if that makes sense. But that's what the back side of the project looks like. It looks just like I knitted something in the round. That is so cool. So for those curious minds, I will continue to go on just a little bit for you. I'm not explaining this. I'm just doing it as I go. So I have just finished, obviously, my return stitch, because that's where my loop is, and I'm not sure, I goofed on that row. I know I goofed on that row. So we're gonna finagle it here. I'm not sure. So just to pretend I'm not doing this. But this is, see if I can get this turned around so you can kind of see what I'm doing. This will be Tunisian knit stitch. So, like I said, I am not showing you guys how to do this because I know you probably can't see what I'm doing anyway. At least not, I got a big hole there. I need to figure out what to do with that. I think I know what the problem with that is. Because, like I said, it took me a couple of rows to even figure this much out. But you guys can't even see what I'm doing. Maybe you can see better this way. Kind of. But I'm just doing the Tunisian knit stitch on the front side of the project. If you're not familiar with that, the knit stitch is just going in between the vertical bars from front to back and pulling the loop through. If you're increasing it when you get to the corner, you have to do a full stitch. So that should be that. Do a full stitch. I'm not going to count those. I'll pretend I know what I'm doing. To pick up your next hook, you go into the next vertical bar and you just start pulling up loops, knit loops, going around that way. So I got you guys all cozied up in a blanket here. And unless you want to make, just like with anything in the round, unless you want to make it all the same size, you definitely need to put an increased stitch in there. Which there's my increased stitch. The increased stitch for the next row. Time to switch to the next hook. I think I'm going to give this a try on a hat just because I can. I think I figured out how to use this principle and to do a top-down hat. We will see. And if I'm successful, you will definitely know, because I will be so super excited, you guys. There's my increased stitch from the last row. Stick another increase in there. And I figured out you can make this as big as the number of loops you can fit on your hook, which I believe my max is probably about 20, because I think that's what I've had on there before. Comfortably 20. Okay. And here, when I get this finished, pulling up my loops here, so I'm not worried about counting because this is getting ready to be frogged as soon as I'm done with this video, because I need to experiment with a hat. Which that I will definitely count my stitches because it needs to be precise. But what's cool is how you do the return on this. And this is best I can tell from the written instructions in that book that I shared in my post the other day, which I will put a link to that video down in the description box. Okay. One there. One there, and then we need the increase. So, here we go. We are done putting the loops on the 4 needles, just like it shows in the picture that I shared with you guys. So what we're going to do is we're just going to turn it over. We're still using the same yarn, and you just continue on with your return stitch just like you normally would. When you get to the end of one row, you put your hook down and pick up the next hook and just continue on with your return stitch. That's how I've been doing it anyway, and I think it looks pretty cool. So I got 2 more stitches here, like that. I'll just put this hook down, grab this hook, stick that yarn on there, and just continue on around doing my return stitch. And as you can see, another row is completed on that side that we just did. So I want to thank you guys for joining me for this breakthrough, revolutionary new concept of Tunisian crochet in the round, and I will see you either here or in the secret tunnel. I mean, this is a secret tunnel. Either here in the secret tunnel or up in the craft room for my next video.